Episode 162. Warning, this show contains adult content, so viewer and listener discretion is advised. I want to talk about nutrition and plants today. And we got a lot of stuff going on. I'm going to go on for a while with this one. I think it's very important. I think especially with the COVID and things like that, and even if there was no COVID and no virus running around, wreaking havoc on the universe, well, not the universe, but the planet, but I think that we should be concerned about our nutrition. And what we have going on is some very bad stuff with our food. And I kind of want to talk about, and this is all just my speculation, my knowledge of what I know, what makes sense to me. So I'm not saying this is the absolute truth, but I think it kind of makes sense if you hear me out. So let's get with it. Welcome to another edition of Up and In It. I'm your host, Adrian Babashoff. And if you're new here, welcome as well. And if you're wondering what the show is about, it's entirely dedicated to improving quality of life for both people and planet through liberation and independence, moving you from surviving to thriving and living life raw. So what do we have going on right now? What we have is farmers growing feed for animals, growing feed for humans, and very large plots of like thousands and thousands of acres of corn and soy. And then we also get carrots and cucumbers and tomatoes. And what's going on? Why is it so weird? Well, because all we're doing, a lot of us found out that all we have is NPK is all we need. And that's just basically nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. I always mess that one up. I got it right this time. Yay for me. But yeah, things will grow. They'll look really good, especially with lots of nitrogen. Nitrogen makes things look really green. So what's missing though is that the human body needs something like 90-something vitamins and minerals, which is very interesting because the ocean, salt water in the ocean actually has all those minerals. Kind of interesting. Some suggest that we came from the ocean. But sea salt will actually give you about 82 of those vitamins and minerals from what people suggest. So, and that's through natural, like Himalayan pink salt, sea salts and stuff like that. So what are some of these things? There's zinc and magnesium and all kinds of different isms and inks out there, but they're not really that abundant in the food that we're eating because it's not very profitable for people to go, especially on large scale, and make sure that they amend the soil and let the soil rest, and there's microbiology and things like that. So if you need any proof, one of the things I look at is that a lot of people are sick, and I think that it's due to the nutrition in our food or the lack thereof. So that's what we have going on right now. There's been some interesting studies I've said before where they found that a lot of young men were not capable for active duty in the Army due to different regions. They started to find out that where it rained a lot, it washed out the soil. There wasn't a lot of nutrients, right? We're basically miners, if you think of it that way. We put seeds in the ground. What feeds the plants? Nutrients. A very healthy plant needs nutrients. So what it does is it takes all the nutrients from that soil and holds it into its body, and therefore we consume it and we eat those nutrients as well. So it's very interesting. This was way back, I guess, in World War II, I think it was, or World War I. I can't remember which one it was, the study. I read and suck up so much information. But what they found was that these regions, that if you put a little dot on a map, you would find out that there was more people who weren't fit for active duty than other areas, and it began to mark out the spots. Everything was transported, all our food by horse and cart back then, and some by train, and there wasn't really much of the refrigeration and the things that we have nowadays. So it was a study that could never be done again because we have food coming from all four corners of the globe, of the world. So very interesting thing there. My next one here is different lands, is what we were just talking about. So in different areas, you'll notice, it's also known, I guess, to science, if we need that there's like pygmy people, there's very small people, and through the evolution of their lives, their generations after their great-great-grandfathers, grandparents, they didn't get much nutrition in the area that they lived in. Maybe the tropics is a good example because there's lots of rain and it's constantly washing whatever compost and nutrients there are in the soils and washing them away down into the streams and things like that. So these people actually evolved with smaller bodies so that they didn't have to consume so many calories, or so it's said. So I thought that was very interesting. So depending on where you're at in the world, there's some places that are nutrient-rich soils and some places that really aren't. So let's talk about what could we do about that. Well, one of the things I look at, and I follow a gentleman by the name of Andrew Saul. I really like his work, and if we're not getting these nutrients in our food, we should be taking multivitamins or supplements in ourselves. This is all great, and there's a lot of backing of how PhD doctors, real life doctors have actually cured people from all kinds of different things. You check out Andrew Saul, he's got some really interesting information. There's other people as well. There's Gerson therapy, where they actually have a 95% success rate of healing people from cancer and things like that through not supplements, as Andrew Saul suggests, but actually really good organic foods. So yeah, if you're not getting it, I would recommend that you take it yourself. But how could we make this even better? What I believe is that plants have a natural digestive enzyme inside of them. As a reason why it's said that eat vegetables, introduce them into your diet, it makes you a lot healthier. So if we're applying these nutrients to our plants, and then we eat the plants have digestive aids. Lots of, not all plants, but a lot of plants are holding that stuff, and it's very fresh, right? A multivitamin has to have been, I think one of the things that they've done was burn plants down. I think there's an interesting fellow you guys would like, if you want to research, his name is Weston A. Price, or he was. He's dead now, long gone, but what he did is he started going around the whole entire world and studying people's health and doing such things as burning their plants down, their vegetables down to an ash, and that way he could extract to find out what nutrients were in those plants. So digestive aids in these plants, I think, help us out a lot better, and they're very fresher. They're not, what's the word I'm looking for? They're not processed, basically. So I think it's a lot healthier to have our nutrition coming from plants. So there's a fight here in the organic realm of giving nutrients to plants as far as synthetics go. So one of the things that I look at for my plants, I've actually stepped away from the organic. I mean, I'm organic, I'm all natural, but I've actually considered giving my plants a multivitamin, meaning zinc and stuff like that. That's magnesium and some stuff that's actually mined from different areas of the world. And I put this in with water, very low amounts, and I spray the outer leaves of my plants. And that's how they get their vitamins. They suck it in through their leaves. They actually have lungs underneath the bottom of the leaves that actually breathe. And they can actually ingest things such as vitamins and stuff through their leaves as well. It's called foliar spraying. So that's kind of my thing that I'm moving towards. I'd rather give I still take supplements myself. But I'd rather feed my plants so they get all of the vitamins and everything that they need, and therefore when I consume them, they help me with the digestive aids. So I know that's probably against what most people would think, to use actually even synthetic fertilizers. But synthetic, let's talk about that for a minute. The multivitamin, where do you think they get the minerals and everything from that? I started researching this and didn't like what I found. I didn't go down the rabbit hole too far. But a lot of things are extracted of vitamins that you're taking, and I believe probably some organics from petroleum, from oil, right? Research it yourself. I don't know if this is true or not. It wouldn't surprise me if it is. But when I started reading things like that, I was like, wow, this is crazy. This is fucking loony, man. And there's kind of no way out. I think, as I said, if we all just went to nature, and depending on where you lived, if you lived in the tropics where you get, like the island of Kauai or something, where it's raining like 300 inches a year, maybe you're not going to be so healthy. You just have to kind of go with the times, go with the flow, in my opinion. Or you could be in a place like, New Hampshire and stuff like that, where they say the soil is just, you can stick your elbow down, all the way down through the soil. And it's just rich, rich, rich. It's got a good, nice balance from what I heard. I think it was New Hampshire. So yeah, petroleum-based stuff, I don't know, man. This stuff's pretty crazy. You got to pick and choose. So I guess if you're really going to be healthy, like a lot of vegans, I guess some of them get very sick because they're not getting some vitamins from meats and stuff like that. And vice versa, people who don't believe in vegetables that much, aren't very healthy because they're not getting vitamins, the minerals in a healthy, balanced diet. So that's that. Diseases is what I want to talk about next, and plants specifically. And we can go into with people too, but first let's talk about plants. if a lot of these plants that we have, which is the majority of them, are all getting sick, it's because they don't have enough vitamins in them. They don't have enough nutrients, right? Because just like a human body, a healthy human body that's got plenty of vitamins and minerals and it gets exercise, has everything it needs, it has an immune system. And that immune system is fueled by vitamins and good foods, right? I think we could probably agree on that. So when I think about this, we need to give these plants some sort of something. And big agriculture, for those of you guys who don't know, there's certain diseases and pests and stuff that come in and they'll wipe out all the corn, the soy, everything. That's why we have to go towards toxic, icky sprays to keep them at bay. Problem is we're ingesting these toxins because, as I said, with the foliar feeding, the plants are sucking up these toxins and then they go inside of our bodies. And you can look that up for yourself. It's pretty much scientifically proven. Some people say they're harmless, but I don't know. I would rather have synthetic vitamins sprayed on my plants so that they have a healthy immune system to fight off diseases and things like that and ingest those than having something with Roundup and toxic stuff that just kills everything. Insecticides, what do you call it? Herbicides and all that to kill off the weeds. I mean, if a lot of you guys don't know, there's genetically modified plants that like Monsanto, Roundup and stuff make that when they spray a toxic poison, it kills bugs, it kills weeds, it kills everything. They put a little gene inside that corn or that soy so that it won't pass away from die from the toxins that they're spraying on it. So it's a pretty crazy thing. Next is what I'd like to say is I use the experiment with zinc. I'll tell you guys. I've got powdery mildew on some of my plants in my garden, and what I did is through really hard research and I stumbled upon a little secret. And if you just take zinc sulfate, and it's the same thing that we all eat for in our bodies, which is really good for COVID, by the way, in conjunction with some other things. The zinc actually helps the plants to become stronger and fight off the powdery mildew, which is actually kind of like a disease, right? It's like this living thing, kind of like the coronavirus. So I did an experiment, and it's very like two teaspoons, I think it was, heaping teaspoons. I have to verify that the amounts per gallon, make sure it's all dissolved, and then same thing as a foliar spray. You just spray it very lightly early in the morning on a cloudy day that's overcast all day is perfect, so that the plants can suck this stuff up into their undersides of their leaves. And lo and behold, about 4 days, 5 days later, about a week, I'd say, to play it safe, it's all gone. It's been about 3 weeks, and today, which is like the second week of, or I think we're beginning the third week of February 2020, by the way. It came back again. So I'm going to spray again and see if that helps with the plants. I've also started this week with some foliar spraying with some synthetic nutrients, like a multivitamin. So we'll see how well that works. But yeah, I have had success using zinc sulfate. So nutrition and toxins in the human body is my next one. I think moving on from plants, well, it's kind of like plants and human beings, as I was just saying. In the human body, it's in my belief, and a lot of nutritionists and holistic health practitioners, is that the body is able to handle a certain amount of toxins, right? But what the body can't handle is not enough nutrients. So if the body has toxins, it has many things, the liver and sweat glands and stuff like that to get rid of stuff. But if you don't have enough good nutrients inside your body, and I believe the same with plants, it doesn't have the gasoline, the clean stuff inside of it to ward and fight these things off. So I think it's very important to make that distinguishment that our bodies are designed to, unless we don't overdose on something, they're really designed to be able to handle most toxins and things like that and get rid of them and viruses. But we just need to have the nutrients. But I guess is what I've been saying this whole time in this message here. So the last note I have here is intuitive food selection. So this means, for those of you who've been following me, you know that I have a special needs daughter. I think she's a lot smarter than the rest of us. She's a little keen. So meaning that she works more on her intuitiveness, because she can't really explain herself very too well. She has problems communicating, right? But her intuitiveness is out through the ceiling. I mean, sometimes she knows when I'm sick, and she asks me if I'm okay, and I never told her a word. But what I'll do is I'll take her into the store and we'll go to the vegetable section. You know, not the pizza and frozen burgers, but we'll go to the vegetable selection and fruits, and she'll just start pointing at stuff. She'll smell it, and like I'll let her just kind of handle it. And intuitively, she's like, I don't know what this is, but I want it. And what I'm saying here is that we all have this intuitiveness inside of us. Let me spear off real quick here. Scientists are baffled that these gorillas knew to go and eat certain plants when they were feeling a little sick. So they'd go and study what these plants are, and these plants actually had natural antibiotics in them. So these animals were very intuitive. There's horses and cows and goats and all that. I think everybody's equipped with this, and even us as humans. So when you go to the grocery store, pick something out and eat as much of it. Don't overthink it. Use your intuition. So basically, it's very simple. Is relax yourself and get yourself, say, carrots or watermelon or whatever it is, and consume a bunch of it. Just consume it. And I've had this happen to me where it was like a week to 2 weeks, sometimes even a few months, where like I was craving something from mushrooms. It was just something about them. My body was like, give me mushrooms. And when I consumed these things, it came to a point where I reached capacity where my body was like, okay, that's enough mushrooms. Let's move on. Like right now, it's cabbage and Brussels sprouts and carrots, something in celery. I've kind of, for some reason, not into tomatoes too much right now. But you see where I'm going with this is I'm intuitively selecting my food choices, and my body, my mouth and everything just kind of knows. It's almost like if you're eating a steak and you're like, and you've got control, you know, and you're just eating and eating until your body's like, okay, we're full. If we eat beyond this point, we're going to get sick, right? But with vegetables and stuff, it's a very subtle, smooth transition. The body just really kind of knows and just goes, yeah, we don't need that anymore. And you just keep moving on to different things. So each one of these individual plants as well, I forgot to mention, is able to create vitamins and minerals in itself. You know, you can look at kale, it's very high in like something like 50 different vitamins and minerals in it, whereas contrast to like romaine lettuce, there's maybe like 20 or something. I don't know, I might be butchering it a little bit here. But yeah, each plant has different stuff in it. It's able to absorb maybe more nutrients than others. It's a different species. So that's what I'm saying, guys, is use your intuition, live in harmony with nature. I think we should be very concerned about our food intake, about nutrition and things like that. Not just us, but our plants. If you're a meat eater and the animals are eating certain plants, you know, we want to make sure that they're eating healthy. So, and then we're also giving back to the nutrients back to nature and the wild so that it can live healthy. It can, like trees, to be able to convert, to make oxygen for us. We need them. And, you know, we need them more than they need us. So that's the message, guys. I hope it found you well. And you guys can always check this stuff out. It's up and in it on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and anywhere where you can find the podcast. If this show was helpful to you and brought you some education or inspired you, please go and like it and review it, if you will, to help get this podcast, get this show going, so we can so I can keep doing these things. It takes a lot of time for me to make these things and money, and I enjoy doing it, and I don't want to quit. I'm not saying I'm going to quit, but it really sparks my day up and lights a match under my ass to do more shows for you guys when I see that there's more views and stuff like that. It just helps, man. It's, to be honest. But cool. Go out there and have yourself a near-life experience. Don't lose your muchness. Carry on the fire. Human up. Live it, love it, own it, and bone it, my friends.